my guest. I've got Peter Maniatis sitting here on the pink velvet lounge.
Thank you.
Pete Maniatis is the real Con the Fruiterer. He's the owner of a fantastic fruit and veg deli shop in Graceville called Superior Fruit. He is also known as Elvis. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you very much for having me.
It is my absolute pleasure. Yeah, I'm so happy you're here. This is going to be a chatty one because we are both quite good at conversations.
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to hearing all about your life and the shop. And I know you do so many things. You've got so many hats and balls in the air, and I'm really looking forward to hearing all about it. So, Peter,
Yes.
First of all, tell me a little about yourself, where you grew up and the path that led you to owning your own business.
Yeah, so I guess in short, I grew up around this area in the western suburbs
Of Brisbane?
Of Brisbane. My parents were in retail food outlets. We've always lived near where our shops are, so that the good part about that was I got to all my friends, business and family and schooling and neighbours were all part of how we grew up. So still doing that to this day.
The community.
The community. You definitely grow up, and if you can work in that same community, it's a very positive thing, I reckon. So no, still doing it to this day. I'm now. I've actually taken over the family business with myself and my wife. I've got 2 young boys myself. We still live in the area. We're still trading in the area. I love food. I love what I do. To me, it's not work. I get to live and party, and I'm in the community that I'm working in, so it's not work. My customers are my friends, so no, we're pretty fortunate.
I love that. Now, tell me about your parents' food shops. What were the food outlets that they used to have? Is that what, the 80s, 90s?
Yeah, that was sort of the late 70s into the 80s and 90s. So they actually started out in mixed businesses. I think my dad had an accounting degree, or he didn't finish it. He got in trouble for that. But they went into retail and food retail. So my dad's family are from Greece. So came from a farming background in Greece, and then when they came here to Australia, they were on a banana farm in northern New South Wales, in Murwillumbah. So I guess, and that with the culture, obviously, yeah, everyone knows Greeks love their food and drink and what have you, and party. So they kind of fell into the retail space.
And so moved from Murwillumbah, which is on the northern coast of New South Wales,
yes. And
then they sold the banana farm and moved to Brisbane.
Yep.
And so, what did they open in Brisbane?
So my father met my mother not long after moving to Brisbane. I think she worked in an accounts department.
Is she Greek?
No, mum's Aussie. Mum's English-Irish. So yeah, some fun in our household, that's for sure. But yeah, they I believe married fairly quickly and just went straight into that retail space. I think their first shop was like a convenience store you'd live in the back of at the time.
Yeah. And
you'd open the shop at the front. I think it might have been an Nogra, I think they said. Just a little bit before my time, but they've always been in that food space.
Yeah.
So.
And so when was it your father who purchased originally Superior Fruit?
Yes. So at the time of Superior Fruit, when it was conceived, we had a shop at St. Lucia, or they had a shop at St. Lucia called the Green Bean.
And what was the
Market.
Green Bean?
It was just a fruit shop.
Yep.
It was just a straight, probably 50, 60 square metre fruit shop. Next door, there was a little shop called the Peppercorn Deli, and my mother ran that with a friend of hers. Then the opportunity came up to buy this shop at Graceville. We knew the previous owners.
Was it called Superior Fruit?
I think it was just called... No, it wasn't called Superior Fruit. I think it was just called Graceville Fruit Mart when they took it over. So the opportunity came up, they grabbed it. Dad actually had a friend of his at the time from Murwillumbah that had moved to Brisbane, so he was running this shop, actually with my mother at the time. Mum came over here. She would set the delicatessen up. She had good help in the delicatessen in St. Lucia. So she'd set up there, come over here and help my dad's friend Bruce in the shop here in Graceville, while Dad sort of manned the 2 shops in St. Lucia. So that's how we came to Graceville. And I think that's about 86, 87. We're not entirely sure.
And so your dad then purchased it. How old were you? Let me work it out. I know the year you were born. You're saying 86, so you would have been 5.
I would have been 6 or 7 if it was 86.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was born 1980.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
So 6 or 7. And do you remember growing up in the shop?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep. Don't remember anything else.
Yeah.
I remember the St. Lucia shop before that even very, very well. So, yeah, was definitely brought up in the back of a shop.
And were you
100%.
working in it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that was part of the game. You had to work in it. You had to learn. In order.
Did you get paid?
No, geez, no. But I got my fair share of food, so it was probably cheaper to pay me than feed me. But no, we grew up in the back of the shop, and you'd have fun doing it most of the time. But it was, looking back, it was. I think we were pretty fortunate because you get to know the locals, or that community, as you said, which I think is a great word, which is exactly what we do, and you get to hang out with them. It's an extended family, is the way I look at it. So that's we absolutely
And
grew up in the shop.
Graceville is quite an old area. So we have beautiful Queenslanders around, and there's a good mix between young families and older families. So
Yes.
would it be safe to say a lot of the old families that are your customers saw and watched you grow up?
100%. This area is a very generational sort of an area. You've got families. We've got third and fourth generation still coming into our shop to this day.
Wow.
People. My son's volleyball coach at school. I used to hold him as a kid like this. His mother would come in. She had 3 boys. She'd go, "Here, hold this one, will you? He's out of control." And I'd go, "What do I do with
Take
it?" And now he's coaching my son. So they see a lot of that sort of stuff. Grandparents. And now, grandkids and even great-grandkids.
Yeah.
I'm showing my age now, so we're starting to see that. And
Hey,
that's definitely
you're
this
younger
area.
than me, so don't say that.
Well, I'd like to think I act it, that's for sure. So,
No, you
yeah.
most certainly do.
Yes.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so what does a typical day in the life of an iconic fruit shop owner look like? Start in the morning. What time is the morning?
Well, the best part about what I do currently is, and always it changes, but ordinarily how we set it out is nowadays, and it hasn't always been this way. We used to start at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
And when you say start, are you at Superior Fruit or are you at the Rockley markets picking the fruit?
Well, ultimately, what we used to do first was we would have to go to the shop and set up.
Yep.
So that number of reasons. First of all, you'd get there because to drag staff in at 2 a.m. is a hard thing to find. Finding that sort of person who wants to work that time of day. Second of all, you didn't have refrigerated shelving and what have you. So every night you'd have to pack the shop completely away in the cold room and then unpack it back to how it's got to be. And sometimes...
And you don't do that anymore? You don't need to?
No, we're pretty fortunate over the years. And I remember having that conversation with my father years ago, just saying, if we could refrigerate this place in the afternoon, it's not and never has and never will be a cheap...
Do you know I never thought of that?
Yeah, it's because most shops
What
let
a mission
everything...
for you to have to pack all of that fruit and veg away at night in a cold room and then come in at 2 a.m.
Correct.
Never have I ever considered that was something you may have to do.
And in my head, I'm thinking, why are we paying for this massive cold room out the back when we can just put refrigerate shelving in? And the other method behind it was because a lot of shops, and I don't know if you've seen it in the shopping centres or whatever, they because they are going to pack the shelves up at the end of the day, they just let their shelves kind of disintegrate in the afternoon. Now, for most of us, that's our peak time. So I used to hate the fact that you'd walk into a shop, anybody's shop, our shop at the time, and it would be decimated. It wasn't nice to see. So we slowly went to go the other way as we could afford refrigerating bit by bit. Our shop started to look good in the afternoons when mum and dads were coming in after school pickup and ultimately you don't need that crazy manpower to pack and unpack every day.
Yeah. So you're no longer doing 2 a.m. What time are you doing?
No, look, it's pretty good nowadays. I'm in there anywhere between sort of 6:30, 7:30. If I can't sleep, I'll go in early. If we've got a bit to do, we'll go in early. But the best part is we're pretty flexible nowadays.
Yeah.
I've got a great team there. They all sort of get in there about 7 o'clock.
So how many staff do you need to run your shop?
I think we've got about 15, 16 on the books. But there's probably out the back at any given time 6, 7 people there.
And what are they doing out the back? What are they doing?
We've got a lot of moving parts at Superior Fruit. So first of all, you've got your fruit and veg. And we do like to boast that the quality's good. We hunt
It's
it in the
better than
market.
good. It's
we
really
want it to
high
be the
quality.
best.
Is it
we
from
want it to be
Rockley?
the best. Yeah.
And
Yes.
who's going there and choosing the fruit and veg?
Yeah, myself mainly. I have another friend of mine who's been helping me with the buying as well. He's in there every day. And this is someone, again, I've known him for 30 or 35 years probably. So he knows what we want because we're very selective. I've always said anybody can sell an orange, not anybody can buy one.
Yeah.
So you've really got to make sure your stock is
superior.
That's first and foremost. It's got to be superior. So in that, there is a lot of we're very touchy feely. We're very everything's got to be perfect. So it's very, very time consuming there. So taking it out of a box and putting it up. I don't like putting stock up in boxes. I like taking it out of the boxes so that you can literally hold every piece of fruit because a couple of oranges might be no good in the box. So it's our way of making sure that all the quality is good. So yeah, you've got a few people on fruit at any given time. Then obviously we do a lot of prep. So in our shop we tend to because most of the people in this area are very busy, or anybody in general, kids, family, all that sort of stuff. So we try to value add as much as we can.
Yeah.
So, okay, we peel pumpkins, we peel potatoes, we, have crudité vegetables cut. So I've always got staff out the back doing that sort of stuff. And then one step further, about probably 28 years ago, the kitchen was born in the shop. And that started with my mother. And over the years, we've had a lot of family working with us, my grandparents, aunties, uncles.
And they come in and they're cooking what?
They cooked mainly Greek.
The Greek salads are amazing there, and my favourite is the tomato soup.
Yeah, tomato soup's. I actually use the tomato soup almost if I'm making I'll put pasta with it as well. And there's a bunch of ways you can use that with
meatballs.
Yeah,
you could simmer meatballs in that. It's
absolutely.
really tasty.
It's not just a soup; it's a salsa. So there's just so much you can do with stuff.
It's so flavoursome.
But it's handmade. So we don't use tin tomatoes. We use the tomatoes off the shelf and we mince them, and so there's no secret. It's just handmade. And that kitchen came about because I remember my parents joking around the dinner table at night going, "Geez, these poor people, they're that busy. If you could cook for them, they'd buy it." So it literally started in the back of the shop. They bought a little domestic combi oven. Yeah. And it started with just simple things like, making tomato galettes and a few soups and that sort of stuff. So
and now you've got pies and you've got
heaps, everything.
You've got it's so many different dishes. You could literally stop in there, pick up your dinner, bring it home, heat it up, and there you go.
Bottle of wine, so you can just
and you sell alcohol as well.
Yeah, of course we sell alcohol. We sell all the stuff I like. So we sell all the good stuff. But I've always just said I've always considered our little business to be the community pantry.
Yes.
Everything you need. You're on the way home. You're late picking kids up from sport or something like that. You just stop at the shop, grab a lasagna. It's packaged food you can trust. It's what you'd cook at home. So it's just we're just the local kitchen.
Good, healthy, homemade meals.
Guilt-free.
Okay, I've just taken you off topic. So you're there at 6 a.m.
Yep.
You've unpacked.
Yep. We'll head into the market. We'll grab some extra stock. We'll pick the stock up. I always have my toastie and a cup of coffee and a bit of a socialise experience at the market cafe there, and then we come back and we unload and go through all the pricing because obviously prices fluctuate daily, and get everything up on the shelf. Make sure everybody knows what we're doing for the day. Check all orders because we've now got an e-commerce platform side of the business as well, which is really taking off. So
what's the e-commerce you've got?
We've always done it, things like platters and catering over the years, but where my wife Kelly has been amazing is she's come into the business now because I'm not at all technology, computers, anything like that. I'm terrible at it. So it took me a while to get my head around where we needed to take the business from an e-commerce point of view. So Kel's been really good at doing that. So she's basically come in. She's redone the website. We've got a few good people behind us helping us with content and how to, as a lot of people would know, it's not just about taking photos and.
So what are you selling on there? All of the
we do,
platters and hampers?
Yeah, a lot of our platters, hampers. We're slowly adding more and more stock as we're going because there's just, as I said before, so many moving parts to the business. Whatever you put online or even over the counter has to be right. So we're growing into it. I'm over the top of everybody going, I don't want generic images. I want our images. I want people to know it's us. You know, that's how I operate. To me, it is a very personal business.
Yeah.
So I don't want to lose that through the e-commerce site. So no, that's really taking off, and we get orders at all hours of the day. You know, you hear the phone ting, and I think it's stressing our poor old chef out. But he's excited for us. All the team are excited. So it's definitely. Superior Fruits, it has turned into kind of your old-fashioned shop. We haven't done a whole lot with it since the 90s.
Yeah.
But, the product's certainly changing.
I think that's the feel that people are enjoying and want to go to.
Well, it's the feel I'm going to give them, because that's what I want it to be.
Yeah.
It's about me too. But no, it is.
It's your home.
Yes.
You've been there since you were 7.
Yep.
6 or
and
7
I've always
years
said,
old.
you don't have to be ashamed of your home. You just make sure it's neat and tidy and comfortable, and people are comfortable coming into it. So that's, it's not the fanciest looking shop in the world, but then again, you're not paying for it either. You're paying for the product, not the fancy lights and all that sort of thing. So
I don't think we need a fancy light. I think it looks great.
No.
So on that same note, your shop isn't just a business. It's a bit of a community landmark, and everybody knows you. Why do you think your shop is so popular? Do you think it's you?
No, I don't think it's me.
So everybody knows you?
Yes, I think they know me, and I think what it is, and if I knew, I'd be a very wealthy boy. But I think what it is it's trust. Yep. Whether you know me, like me, or dislike me, or whatever, I find that hard to believe. They trust us. Yes. I'm sure a lot of people out there might have words to describe me, but I would hope no one would ever call me dishonest.
No.
So I'll always tell people honestly, hey, look, that's no good. Leave it this week. Why do you even have it? Well, we get tourists in here occasionally and they want it, but I'm telling you not to buy it. I've always been honest with people.
Because sometimes you have a really great restaurant you might go to, or a coffee shop that you might go to, and it's got a fantastic menu and the food is great or the coffee's great. They build it up and then they sell it.
Yes.
And what happens?
Well, you lose that trust. You're starting all over again.
And also the quality.
Correct.
I've never seen it better than the original owner.
Yes. Back
to why I think it's you. I think it's because you love the place and you want the place to be how your father created it, and you want to build upon that.
Correct. This is where my wife is, and not this, but I'm always don't worry about the money. Just I just give them that, or you just put a few extra on that platter for that guy. He's a champion. Or this lady's beautiful. Just or kids come in and I'm giving stuff away, and my wife's going through the P&Ls, going, the L's are bigger than the P's at the moment, mate. Just take it easy. Just whatever. So and that's where she's been fantastic, because I have no concept of that. Like I said, for me this isn't work. I've never been a big shot businessman. I'm not. I just enjoy what I do where I am. So no, I think yes, it is me.
It's a passion.
But it's that's the value of the business is what we our fundamentals. So
no, you nail it. Have you, on that same note again, have you ever thought of going into politics? Having said you know everybody.
When I think about going into politics, when I'm really angry watching the TV and there's something going on, that's it, I'm going to do it.
Would it be local, state or federal?
If I was ever going to go into it, and this isn't a Donald Trump thing, I'm not going to. I can't anyway. My social media is inappropriate, but
it is.
I
love it.
I like council. I like council. It's grassroots. It's what I do.
Yeah.
It's if I did, and it would be council.
Yeah.
I am a people person. I'd like to go in, problem solve, and then I'd like to think I'm also a doer. So at council level, I think you can get stuff done quicker. So
we can talk
I'd
later.
like to think,
No, I think you'd be fantastic. I think people would want to vote for you, and I think that you've got great ideas, and your heart's already in the community.
Oh yeah, they'd have to know that I swear a lot and I'm highly opinionated, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah. So you're known for your big personality and your big heart, and I know you love spending time with your mates. I see it on your social media. What role do you think that friendship plays in your day-to-day life, and why do you think it's so important for men to have strong friendships?
I could go on about this for hours, but the long and short of it is that it is highly important for guys to have friends. I wouldn't be where I am without my friends. I ring my friends. If you need something in business, I always ring my friends first. And it's also very important the caliber of friends that you keep, because you're a reflection of who you attract to you. So since having kids of my own, for example, and where I was fortunate growing up was we had some really, my parents had some fantastic and influential people around us, and we got the benefit of that, because those people, when my parents entertained, it was always at home. So those people would come into our house. So the people you invite into your home, especially when you have a family, are very important. They're the people that I've always said, if something happened to me tomorrow, my kids, could ring this guy and say, hey, don't know if you remember me. Pete was my dad. I need some help with something. And these people would help my kids. So there's that avenue of it, which I think is highly important, because, your network extends to your kids as well. So that's really important. They need to understand the network and the support network you have. On a personal level for men, I think it's very important to have a good group of positive and selfless, just good people, because, and I just was talking to my wife about this morning. I might be wrong. I'm not a psychologist. She is. But I think men internalise first. So we sit down and I know when my wife's talking, she goes, haven't you got anything to say? I said, no, I'm agreeing with you here. It's not a debate. It's not even a discussion. What you're saying, I agree with.
So this is something that I say, men are not women.
No.
There's 100% difference between a man and a woman, and how, I'm being quite general here, but how we communicate is completely different. Men do internalise. My husband is the same. I'll say something, but because it doesn't end in a question mark, he's silent, and I'm like, I'll actually wait and wait and
just
wait
listening.
and wait, and then I'll say, did you not hear me? He goes, yeah, I heard you. I'm like, how come you didn't answer? He said it wasn't a question.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's my wife.
Women are not like this.
My wife is a beautiful lady. I've never disagreed with anything she said, but I've said to her, if I do, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
If I don't agree with that, I'll tell you. But but so I think we internalise, and even last time we had a discussion, I said, all right, I now need to go away and process that. And for me, I do something like wash the car or mow the lawn. I like a bit of physical work, and kind of disconnect and just digest it.
Yeah.
I think in many cases, women like to discuss it. So it's coming out while they're thinking, while they're processing it. So I sit there, and I'm very ADHD. And so when my wife's talking and rabbiting, well, not rabbiting on, but when she's speaking, I'm going, yep.
Get to the point.
And I'm trying to feed her words, and she's trying. I said, you won't offend me. Don't worry about an offensive word. Just hurry up and say it. Come on, let's get this over.
Can you just condense it into one sentence?
Yes, and I'll get it fixed.
I think my husband would agree with you.
Yes.
Because my stories can be quite long-winded.
Yes, which is fine, because at least we're entertaining. But
go back to what you just said. We are not internalising. We are externalising.
Yes.
So when we are saying things, we're actually convincing ourselves of the answer. We don't. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Whereas you, as a man, are thinking about it, and then you probably considered in your answer.
I think we will hit you with, so we'll have a think about it, for example. Like I'll have a think about something, and I will say to my wife, okay, and ask her 1 or 2 or 3 questions. She'll sit down with a cup of coffee, look at me right in the face, and I'm going, okay, what's going on? And just...
This is the best day of her life when you ask her 4 questions, I bet.
I know, right? Because she likes answering them quickly as well. But yeah, when she's thinking stuff out, and I get it, because you want to work it out together.
Yes.
But it's just 2 different ways of processing it, I think. So that's why going back to
So if you're having a bad day, or you're having a good day, you'll reach out to your mates.
Well, that's I mean, I think for guys it's good to, and this is why company you keep needs to be so important. They need to have the same values you do.
Can you be real? Can you be really honest and raw?
Yes. Yes. I do. I don't do boys' weekends. I do a couple of guys' trips every year. One of them is a houseboat with some very good friends of mine. The other one is we do Fraser Island. And the guys on that trip for me, most of them are in business, or they're surgeons, or they're in a leadership role of some sort, which I am. So we've all kind of got some common ground there. And then, these are the sort of guys, when you ask them a question, hey, lads, what do you think about this? Or the other day I said this to my wife and it's playing in my head. Maybe I was rude or whatever. They're the sort of guys that will tell you honestly. No one's there wife bashing. No one's there, knocking their kids or gloating. There's no egos about the people I hang around. So that's why I think it's very important because, and just as it is same thing for ladies, for the women, they need to have a good group of positive friends around them as well that you can just go and have a wine with, or just, for us, like I said, fishing, us blokes, we all just like getting together and fishing and cooking, and a lot of these guys are Greek and Italian or whatever, so we have big debates and wave our arms everywhere, and it's just a good fun week. But no one, they'll offer you your opinion if you ask for it, but otherwise they give you their circumstances that they've been through. So they're giving you real information. So they're the sort of guys I like to hang around. Yeah. Very, very, very important. So.
I agree. And, I wonder to myself these, with domestic violence and, it's a real problem in Australia. It is probably all around the world, but I know it here personally, and not me, but my friends. It has been a real issue in this country. And I wonder if those boys who grew up to be men could express their emotions and their feelings better and to other males, whether a lot of this could...
you could have that discussion. Hey, I get so angry sometimes, this.
Yeah.
No, so I'm very fortunate that I have friends like that. You shoot them a message at night when your head's going or whatever. Hey, just this. Yeah, mate, no problem.
I'm really struggling.
Or they'll check up with you in the morning. Hey, you all good? Yeah. I think I was just in my head a bit at the time. Hey, thanks for messaging back. All good. Just one of those moments. I think that's really important.
And the other thing is raising our boys. I think it's Maggie Dent, and she has some fantastic views on the psychology of raising a good man. And it starts as boys, and it allows them to cry when they hurt themselves, and it allows them to have their emotions and speak their emotions, and not just get up and shake it off, or internalize disappointment or loss or anger. They've got to get it out, and they've got to be able to talk about it. And so I hope that future generations, I certainly let my son cry. I let him, I'm really touchy-feely with him, and we I give him big hugs and things like that. He's a male, and I want him to be an emotional male. I want him, when he grows up, to be able to have a conversation with his wife without anger, to be able to lose a job and not act out at home. I want him to be able to, not succeed at things, but not be aggressive or angry because he's frustrated.
Yes. I think as generations go on, that will change. We probably, came from a generation where, the boys don't cry and that sort of stuff, I remember hearing it. I can't remember who said it. Actually, one instance, I remember my grandfather's funeral. My grandmother, so this is my dad's side, they were Greek, as I said, and I remember being at my grandfather's funeral, and my grandmother was holding my hand, and they're pretty strong people, they're tough people. And I remember she grabbed my hand and, whatever, and I had started to cry, and she looked up and she says to me in Greek, she says, "What are you doing?" I said, "What's this?" I said, she goes, "Hey, my husband, you've got his name, you stand up strong." I said, "Okay, no problems."
So it is generation.
I think there is a bit of that, and especially for us, probably that
And did you stop crying, or?
Oh yeah.
You were embarrassed, probably. So that was your lesson from Grandma right then and there. I can't cry if I'm sad.
I think, look, fortunately, I was probably mid-30s then, so I looked at it was, well, you know what, there is a strength behind that, but you certainly also need to learn. She just wanted me to be a man. Yeah. And she was having her moment, whatever. I look at everything, try to look at everything from different angles. So, those people taught me strength and resilience and that sort of stuff, because from where they came from, they were war-torn, they were starving.
War-torn in Greece? Whereabouts?
Yeah, so we were from the Peloponnese, Tripoli, so up in the mountains, right in the middle of in the middle of Greece. And they came with nothing, couldn't speak the language, so they went through some adverse sort of times.
Oh,
So
absolutely would have.
what they were trying to teach us was strength. Now, whether crying or not crying is strength or not strong, that was the message I got from it was be strong, whatever that is. So, you know, I've got 2 boys now, and this is where I'm very fortunate. My wife's a psychologist, so she sees this coming out in me every now and again, because I'll say to the boys, come, mate, get up. It's just, if there's no bone and no blood, you're fine. You know.
And
just,
I've heard, call the wambulance, and I'm like, what?
I do say
like
it myself.
That child literally hurt themselves. They're in pain, and you're saying, call the wambulance.
I haven't filmed it and put it on YouTube yet. That's probably going to come. But but I'll say it jokingly, and Kelly will go, but you remember people saying it to you. Maybe they said it jokingly too. So I think we're all trying to learn that. What I'm trying to tell my boys
relearning.
is absolutely. I'm teaching myself, and that's. But you know, an emotion is a reaction. It's how you choose to behave after that. So if you lose your job and you just want to get in the car and cry, go do it. But then, you know.
But also tell people.
Yes.
Tell your mates.
If that's what you need, work through it. Whatever you need, that's where it's important to have those friends, a good supporting partner, whatever you've got. But then, okay, once that emotion's whatever, now manage it. So, you know, you can go to fix-it mode or happy or sad or whatever, but an emotion is a reaction first and foremost every time. So you've got to go through that. You can't stop any human being not having that reaction, that emotion. So.
Oh, agreed. All right, so tell me, have you got any funny or heartwarming stories that have stuck with you over the years from customers?
Oh, heaps.
Do you kiss the customers and the babies?
Yeah, I do all that.
That's typically Con the Fruiterer style.
Yes,
What was his favourite saying?
Beautiful, a couple of days.
A couple of days.
Yeah, my wife Marika, Rula Tula Sulais. Heaps of stories. Naturally, none really come to mind right now, but just the best part is the common jokes, you know, because our customers, 98% of return, you know their names. So is there a joke? Yeah, it's been running for 40 years now. You know, it's the same bloody joke.
But
that's what makes it funny.
Really enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's there's plenty of that. Look, and we've had a lot of fun times with some fun people. We've got some a lot of characters in this area.
Yeah.
You know, and what I love is you don't just get the wife, you get the husband coming in as well, you know.
Who probably heard about it. Hey, I went to Pete's shop today. Well, I actually just call it Pete's shop.
Yep, yeah, it's and it's funny because different generations, you know, like a lot of the oldies will call it Chris's shop.
Well, there you go. Know? I literally will call it Pete's shop.
Yeah, no, well, my dad Chris, so that's how you know when you can tell the age groups, you see.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I don't care what they call it, as long as they come in and have a smile on their face and go home and you know, enjoy what they've created with what we've given them. So no, we've had some absolutely beautiful times and still are. You know, like it's just I love it.
So, and you've spoken about your beautiful wife and you've got 2 beautiful children. How has becoming a father changed your life? I want to hear both the good and the ugly. I want to hear, how has it changed you?
Well, sadly, I haven't matured any, according to Kelly. Don't think I ever will.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think so. I don't like adulting.
Young at heart.
I don't like adulting. Look, it's like a lot of people say, being a parent, very fulfilling.
And you are hands-on. I've seen you, Father. You are so hands-on.
I've got, so we had a lot of years of infertility. So I remember, I personally got to a stage just thinking, right, it's not going to happen. And for me, I'm okay with that. Let's just move on, get on with life. You know, I stood at the altar with the woman that I love and I wanted to marry. That hasn't changed. So first and foremost, Kel was still invested at the time.
How many years did you?
I think all up we were about 10 from when we decided, right, let's do this. It was about 10 years.
What kind of treatments did you?
Oh, everything. Everything.
Were the boys IVF?
So we ended up conceiving through IVF.
Yeah, my Marshall's IVF.
Is he?
Yeah.
There you go. And the old saying, so our Christos came through an IVF baby, and then a couple of years later, I don't know, I think it was one of those Charlie Sheen nights, party.
You're going to tell me she conceived naturally.
Yep.
That's what they say.
Yeah,
all of the IVF doctors will say that.
Yep.
You'll have all this infertility issues, you'll have your baby through IVF, and then the next one's a natural because your body has a bit of muscle memory and knows how to do it now.
Well, I just say the first child, was obviously IVF. The second child, I think, was a bottle of vodka.
Yeah.
So it was. So yeah, that's.
Well, my first was a Christmas party.
Yeah, vodka.
And the second one was also Christmas. Third one was 3 years worth of IVF.
Yeah. Well, Christmas. Make sure you guys separate. You got enough. But no, look. So I remember during that time just thinking, no, if this ever happens. I remember thinking how bad I wanted it, so don't let an opportunity go by.
Yeah. So how many rounds of IVF would you say you went through?
I think we really. So we tried everything else first.
IUI, timed intercourse, all of those injections that release the egg at the right time.
Yeah, we did a lot of herbal stuff. We did. I don't know. We just. I remember going to a lot of different places. Kelly would drag me here. I'd find something. I'd drag her there.
Which clinic was it?
I couldn't tell you the clinic. The man who helped us in the end was, and funnily enough, you do a full 360. One of Kelly's best friends at school, her father was one of the IVF doctors. His name was Dr. Astle, Neil Astle.
Okay, I don't know him.
Really beautiful gentleman of a guy. And I remember saying to Kelly in the early days, I said, "You've got Dr. Astle there. Why don't you go see him?" And she said, "Oh, I don't know. Just, my best friend's dad, and I grew up with these people, and I don't know."
Well, he'd be more invested.
Yeah, and as it turns out, that's what ended up happening in the end. So, it's never got the two boys, and couldn't be any better. Yeah. I love it. So, I love.
So it's changed your life in a positive way.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. But it certainly adds to it too. Because I said to my mother-in-law just the other night, I wasn't scared of anything until I had kids. Yeah. Nothing scared me.
So are you scared that they'll hurt themselves or you'll lose them?
Just
what is it?
You all of a sudden feel vulnerable when you've got kids. Yeah. So, I don't want them
you
hurting
always
themselves.
think where they are, when they're little especially, and they're not in the car seat, and you think, did I drop them at daycare? Yep. Did I take them to school? And I have to go through my head, what did I do with that child?
Have I let them out of their cage? And what I find is, model insecurities and that sort of thing now, I'm now mentally trying not to put them on my kids, like you said before, that stuff with, boys don't cry, I say it jokingly, but what's a joke? It's how someone perceives it, right?
Exactly.
So I do find myself, and like I said before, I'm highly inappropriate in a lot of ways. So everything I say, I've got to think about it.
But I think that's okay. I think that's a bit of fun. I can be completely inappropriate. I was on the tennis court this morning with the ladies. Now, if I didn't say so many dumb things this morning, one of the tennis balls was furry, and I'm like, I hate furry balls. And everyone was just laughing. But it kept, and then I hit it long. I went, oh, there's a big one. And then someone's like, oh, you love big ones. I'm like, oh my God, we are terrible. Yep. But I think it's funny.
But that's why I played tennis. I've got a heap of puns I can add to that later. But no, it is. And I, so my oldest boy has a very, he's an old soul, and he's got a
He's gentle, isn't he?
Very, very. But he's
the other one's the opposite,
the other one's
right?
cheeky. Yeah, the other one's very cheeky, very active. I've got to glue him to the ground. But the eldest boy's got my sense of humour, but he's very intelligent too. So he can really, like, sometimes I don't get the jokes because it might be something to do with, World War II or something that happened in history. I'm going, what? I didn't quite understand the concept of it. Yeah, he watches a lot of this modern history on TV and that sort of stuff and YouTube. But
fantastic.
But it's and
it's better than the brain-numbing rot that my son watches on YouTube.
No, they still watch a bit of that. But no, I'm trying to explain to him that with humour and comedy, because I've always been that person that likes to
lighten the mood.
Yeah, people choose to be offended, and I learn, and this is not just comedy, it's anything in life, what people's intentions are. You have to understand what their intention is. So my intention is never to offend anybody. I've never set out to offend anybody.
What you're looking for is a laugh.
I'd like to see a reaction.
Yeah.
And that first emotional reaction may be offended, but then they go, oh, that was actually very clever. Such the wrong time. It is funny. So that's kind of my sense of humour, that mic drop sense of humour. Which the eldest boy definitely has. So
what about swearing in front of the kids?
I'm surprised. Have I sworn today?
No.
No, see that?
No.
No, I swear a lot. I do swear a lot, and I've read on Facebook, which is I pick a lot of stuff out of Facebook, that intelligent people swear a lot. So, yeah, I do.
I would agree.
I do.
See,
swear.
we've always had the thing where what we will say to the children is if we drop swear words, which obviously we're adults, so we can and we do.
Yes.
I will always say to the kids, they're adult words,
Adult words.
and that's been since they were little.
Yep.
So it kind of, not that we're going to get around dropping C bombs or anything, but we are certainly going to drop an F bomb or a SH bomb, and then just say they're adult words.
Correct. Yep.
And my two girls are adults now. One is 23 and one is 19. But my husband still does not like them swearing in front of him.
Yeah.
I don't mind, but he will pull them up, and they're adults. And
I try not to swear in front of ladies. That's and that was I was. My parents tried to bring me up a gentleman.
Yeah.
They did their very best.
They did a great job.
But yeah, little things like that. I don't. I try not to swear in front of my wife and my mother-in-law. I've had to teach my mother-in-law some words in Greek. She's that beautiful, and I've said a word. She goes, "What's that?" I said, "Oh, I can't explain that to you. Here, Google it." Yeah, but no, I think look, I don't hide anything from my kids.
Yeah.
They see everything I do.
Honesty is best.
There's,
I've raised my children the same, so I will age appropriately.
Absolutely,
I will tell them my experience in that situation. You know, when yours are not at the stage to drink alcohol yet, but
not until
I remember
they're 12.
Yeah, not quite there yet. No, when they're 14, maybe they can have a glass of red. But no, my children, I would tell them the real stories. I didn't have parents looking over my shoulder or people to ask or people to say no. So I let loose. And a lot of them were really stupid situations that I got myself into, but I will absolutely tell my children about that.
Yes.
Just so they can be aware that can be a reality.
Correct.
That situation at a party or at a club or walking home at night, this is reality for your mother, you know? So I hope that they take that with them. And my kids are not massive drinkers. Like, they'll go to parties and things like that. But certainly I am honest.
They need to know this is where they can come home and unload.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Tell
That's
me
what you
anything.
do. Yeah, I unload to my wife. She unloads on me. That's what home is.
Yes.
And that's why that supportive partner, that supportive family, you're there to support each other, you know. So my boys...
maybe I could be a little bit too honest. Sometimes my daughter's boyfriends will just go red in the face sometimes, the things that I'll say about menstruation or perimenopause or any of it.
But I think that's all
honest.
relevant. But that's relevant in this house.
Yeah.
Right? You have girls.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I thought it had something to do with the moon phase. I was checking the tidal times. I don't get how it works because I didn't grow up in a house like that. But my kids, they hear us discuss everything. They've heard us if we've had a disagreement, and I've got to say, we don't argue or name call in our house. We've always just got, okay, something's not right. Let's either fix it or find a solution or a compromise or whatever and move forward. We've always done that very well. But I always I like a nice dirty cigar every now and again and a glass of whiskey. I don't go to the casino. I don't go out partying all night. I like going to the pub with the boys and having a few beers. And sometimes I'll be home late if the boxing or Formula One or something's on. But everything is always at home with my boys, and they see everything. Dad,
you're a family man.
I heard you come in last night. You were singing. Yeah. Sorry. But I had been out, just up the road, the Indooroopilly Hotel or whatever. We were watching the boxing and had a few beers, and I came home. I always come home.
Who doesn't sing when they've had a few drinks? Come on. Who are these silent people? So when your boys grow up, would you like them to follow in your footsteps and take over Pete's shop, the Superior Fruits, or would you like them to create and carve their own path in life?
I absolutely want them to create and carve their own paths in their life, because where my boys are very, very, very fortunate is they have a mother who brings a whole another level of intelligence to the table as well, and they are her blood as much as mine. So I'd love to see them with the ability to, physically work if they have to, like I've always done and I enjoy, and with the academic intelligence of their mum, I think they can do some amazing stuff. And it's up to them. They, if they want to go out and conquer the world, good luck. If they want a family home, a dog, a white picket fence, and a couple of kids, and just have a steady job, that's fine. But I don't. It's their journey now.
There's no expectation from you.
No, Oh, there is. They're private.
No,
they're
I
at
meant
private
about the
schools.
fruit
They're
shop.
bloody oath is expectations. No,
I
not
went
for the
to
fruit
your
shop.
child's school the other day for a game of soccer, and man, it is beautiful.
It's big. I keep getting lost there. But no, it is. There's an expectation that I've always said to my boys. I want you to live up to your potential.
Yes.
What happened today at sport? I was tired. Okay, we can still do your best when you're tired. It's just tired best.
Yeah.
That's all. So there is definitely expectations, but no, not in terms of right. I do want them to go to university.
Did you go to uni?
No.
No, I didn't either.
No, just for options, just to give them and the experience.
Yes.
Meeting more people. There's more than just a school classroom and then going to work. So I do want them to do that, but again, I don't really care what they do there. But no, I don't want them just going, okay, that's what Dad does, that's what we're doing.
So
No way.
my daughters both have done university. One's in uni now and one's completed. My son, I don't mind if he goes into a trade. I don't think he's academic. I should not label him at 12 years old, but I wonder if he's not an academic. He gets great grades, but the passion's not there. It's kind of a chore. So unless the penny drops in the next few years and he suddenly loves to study, sure. But I would think, a trade for him.
I think so.
Which I think is fantastic as well.
When I think about myself, I was not an academic at all by any means.
Same.
But I had a ball in school. I never wagged a day. I wagged a few classes.
We're twins.
Never wagged a day. I enjoyed school. I had a ball.
See, I just liked the people there. It was all about the friendships.
Yep, I had some great mates. Still do. But I think the important part is you, as parents, if you don't quite know where your son is, you just expose them to stuff. Yeah. I think we need to expose them. Start having, my eldest now is 11. Start and have those conversations. Hey, like I'll introduce him to my friends. Oh, this guy here. Yep, he's a politician, or he's not my friend. He's this person, or this person does that. Do you think that's something you might like to do? Or I said, why don't you? One of my very, very good friends is a beautiful guy, and he's a neurologist, neurosurgeon, and. I said to Christos, I said, do you know what that is? No, and we got on YouTube and looked it up. I said, so next time you see him, why don't you ask him about it? And so he seems to now sort of just be interested in that. But yeah, when my boys meet my friends and that sort of stuff, I always kind of explain who they are and what they do, so that
you're broadening their minds.
Yeah.
And also the good thing is usually in about grade 10 or 11 at my children's schools in the past, it's been grade 10, they do an aptitude test.
Yes.
And that basically will give the child an indication of their strengths and what they enjoy.
Yes.
And that can kind of that brings a list up of all the jobs that will be suitable for you.
Yep.
It was very interesting when both of my daughters did that.
I questioned how good that test was, because mine said I should have been a cop.
Oh, there was a guy in my daughter's school that said could make cheese. A cheese maker.
Does he want a job or
a cheese maker?
I think those tests are cool because it gets the kids
thinking about it. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Okay, so what does success look like to you, not just in business but in life? Put it in one sentence. What does success look like to you, not just in business but in your life?
Being comfortable and satisfied with what you have so far. So if you want me to elaborate on that, I've got 2 beautiful, healthy boys. I have a very supportive wife. I've got a business that feeds us.
That's success.
So
I love that.
You want more? Bloody oath I do. But it's not going to come at the expense of any of that. So that would be my quick and short answer to that one.
Love it. Now we're going to move on to some fun stuff.
Righto.
There's something that you guests that are listening may not know about this young man, but he is an Elvis fan. Some would say he is Graceville's Elvis. What do you say to that, Peter?
Well, I'm sober at the moment. After a few wines,
I'll just get you a fireball quickly. Can you guys just wait a minute?
Absolutely tell you I'm an Elvis. No, definitely a fan.
You love your
Definitely
Elvis.
A fan, yeah.
What what was the first song you ever heard that made you fall in love with Elvis Presley?
First song I ever remember was Hound Dog, because my dad would try and attempt to sing it. And he's not a singer by any means. The first song that gave me goosebumps.
I know what you're going to say.
And still does. Which one?
Wise men say only fools rush
in. No, believe it or not, American Trilogy.
Oh, wow.
The American Trilogy, that song
and I don't
gets
even
me every
know
time.
that song.
It's 3 songs in one.
And
So
is it a slow-paced song?
very slow.
Is it a love song?
No, it's a song about
Is it a
sort of
romantic
Dixieland, and
song?
no, I like to fight bits in movies. I don't do romance. No, it's called Three Songs in One. So it's
American Trilogy.
an American trilogy. Yeah, that song. If you ask me what my favourite song is, it would probably have to be that one. But it depends what mood you're in. That's the thing. Elvis covered everything.
Yes.
So he's got a song or some music for whatever mood you're in.
Yes.
That's what I
feel
always
like
liked
that
about
about
it.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I've just only recently discovered her. I don't know where I've been. I thought she was new. She's been around a long time.
Oh, wow.
I watched her documentary and now I'm listening to her music.
Honest to goodness, she is, for you, your Elvis is my Taylor Swift.
Yep. No, I think she's amazing because I like country music as well, and that's where I didn't realise. I didn't realise I already liked her songs. I didn't know who it was.
She's amazing. Okay, so I know that I saw on social media you sung as Elvis last year for a charity. It was called Unsung Heroes.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. What were they raising money for, and what were you singing, and was it a competition?
That was cool. That was out of the blue. So the event was called Unsung Heroes, and it's put on by a charity called the Carers Foundation. So the Carers Foundation, long and short, basically raise money and awareness to help people who care for loved ones. So often, if a mother has a child that has some sort of a disability, obviously she can't get to work. The child's very dependent. NDIS do or don't necessarily always, and then one thing it does very, very well in that aspect is obviously deals with the parents' mental health or the carers' mental health. So they organise retreats and time away. So they'll have someone go in for a day and look after, and give them that respite and that sort of stuff. So as good as and as wonderful as I've learned as our system is here in this country, there are a lot of flaws. So that's where organisations like the Carers Foundation come into play. That said, I was thrown into it.
That's where you could jump into state government.
Yes, well, they'd love me in cabinet, I think. So I was actually nominated by one of my best friends' beautiful daughter. She was about 15 she was at the time, and we were just having a dinner at their house, and she had done Dancing CEOs with her father the year before, and I was a couple of wines in with her dad, and I started singing, I think, and she said, "I'm going to nominate you for Unsung Heroes." And I didn't know what it was. I wasn't aware of it or anything. And I said, "Yeah, sure." I said, "What does that mean?" She goes, "Oh, you'll be up on stage. You can do an Elvis song." I said, "Great, bloody oath, let's do it."
Did you have a few drinks before going on stage?
No, I actually didn't have one. Actually, no, I had a half a champagne.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I found out how serious or what this was about, so it was obviously a lot of fun, but we had to raise a minimum of $25,000.
Did you raise it through the shop?
Yeah, absolutely through the shop. We did everything went through the shop, and with the help of some friends again, very good friends, and we did a lot of fundraising. We had some events. I was very lucky. I've got a beautiful friend of mine. She manages a cover band called the Filthy Animals, and it's made up of some of Australia's best musicians.
Wow. What kind of music is it?
So it's just rock music,
Okay,
like just
great.
good 70s, 80s rock
I
music.
would probably love it.
You'd love it. And the good part is you go and the crowd's sort of our age.
Yeah.
So it's...
We can say it. We're middle-aged.
We're middle-aged, yeah. But no, I got to get up. That was probably one of the scariest nights. She said to me, "Look, we want to help you raise some money."
Yeah.
Kerry Jacobson is actually the drummer in the band. Kerry's a beautiful guy, and he said we can get Pete on stage. So they had an event one night at Lefty's Music Hall, and I actually I shit myself more at that event than the actual main event, because the people that had paid to see this cover band had paid to see this cover band, not some extroverted wog getting on stage in a funny Elvis outfit and trying to blare into it. Yeah,
you were amazing. What did you sing?
That night, what did we do?
It was amazing. It was a tough one.
Yeah. No, and the reason we chose that song, because it's ordinarily not a song I would do, can't remember what it was, was because it was the easiest one to learn.
If you give us permission, I might insert the song here. Do you mind if you send me the link?
Yeah, I've got the link there for it somewhere. I'll send it over to you.
Inserting now.
Well, mama, she done told me, Papa told me too. That life you're living, son, that won't be any good for you, but that's all right. that's all right. That's all right, mama. Any way you do it.
But yeah, that I remember the band saying that was the easiest song to learn. So it was new to them, new to me. I smashed it out, I think, once or twice an hour before they went on stage, and that was it. That's the only ever stage performance I'd ever, and with some of Australia's, best musicians
Did
we've
you
ever
love it?
seen. Oh, in the end, I did, yeah. But like I said, before I went on stage, not a lot stresses me out,
But this
but
did.
that did.
Yeah. Were your boys
And then,
there?
yeah, no, the boys were there. Actually, no, the boys weren't at that one because unfortunately, it was a licensed venue. They couldn't have under 18s. But at the actual event itself that night, and there was 8 other people on stage raising money for the unsung heroes. And I remember saying to myself, I was only stressing just because I wanted to, not for my own sake, because I guess when I was nominated, I thought, oh, sure, I can get on stage and act like an idiot. I've got absolutely no shame.
What's new?
Yeah,
Oh God,
happy
we're
to do
twins.
it.
Oh.
But then when they said, yeah, this is what you got to do, and I was more about making sure I did the right thing for the organisation.
Yeah.
So that's all I was stressed
So
about
if you've
for
got
that.
8 people raising 25 grand, what's that?
I think on the
200
night,
grand.
yeah, I think they ended up doing over $380,000
Wow.
in 2024. So because they're trying to build a massive retreat so that they can, rather than hire venues
Somewhere
and that
to
sort of stuff.
go.
So yeah, they're building one for the carers. So that was really cool. That was really cool. And my boys are at that one. We actually got them up on stage.
Yeah.
And
I think
that was a fun
teaching
event.
the kids altruism is so important as well. Like I have done in the past a lot of fundraising for Bravehearts.
Yes.
Do you know who Bravehearts are?
I've know of them, yeah.
So they deal with child sex assault. So the statistics are phenomenal. It's 1 in 5 Australian children will be sexually assaulted by the time they turn 18. So look at your kids' class.
Wow.
And how many kids are in the class?
Yeah,
25?
20, I think, yeah, 25, yeah.
So you're talking about 5 kids in that class. Is that right? 1 in 5?
Yeah,
25?
yeah.
So 5 kids in that class will be sexually assaulted by the time they're 18. So it's they raise a lot of money, a lot of awareness. They do counselling. They have educational programs that go out to schools, and it's something that is really close to my heart. And because that statistic blows my mind.
That's
right?
amazing.
Right?
That's scary.
Oh, it's so
That's
scary.
actually scary.
And so I did a lot of fundraising myself, but something that I really enjoy is that my kids saw it. They attended the girls did. They attended all the events. They helped. So they both fundraise all the time now.
Yeah, you have to.
Both
You've
of
got to do your
my
bit.
girls do.
You've got to do your bit. You look,
Yeah.
you can't save the world, but you can do what you can do when you can do it, and you help the people that are doing it
Yeah.
if you can't.
And it's the haves, like sharing the haves with the have-nots, It's just so important. Okay, so your favourite Elvis song? These are blast questions. Favourite Elvis song?
Yeah, it'd have to be American Trilogy.
Oh, we said that, didn't we?
Yep.
What's your favourite song to sing of Elvis? To sing?
Probably that one.
Same one?
Yeah, probably that one.
All right, if you had to sum up Peter Maniatis of Superior Fruit Graceville in an Elvis song title, what would it be and why?
Big Hunk of Love. I probably shouldn't explain that.
That's so good. Okay, can I just guess your favourite movies right now? When I was getting ready for this podcast interview, 2 movies came to my mind. Do you know what? I'm going to get you to say them, and if I've got them written here, I was right. So go. 2 movies.
Oh, it's hard, but
Okay, give me number 1.
probably Top Gun.
I've written that. Number 2.
Top Gun.
Oh, God. I'm sending it to you right now. By the way, it's Top Gun, the original is what I have written down.
No.
Number 2 was fantastic. No.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
It was so good.
It's great. It's not 2.
Right.
It's not 2. It's
Okay,
just
second.
a
What's your
sequel.
second movie? Come on, I'm sending it to you.
I'm
vibing it.
I love my 80s comedies and action films, but I'm going to say the movie I
This
could...
is not comedy that I've got written down.
Okay. No, well, I'm going to say the movie I can watch over and over again and get a laugh out of it.
I'm going to say Goonies.
No, Police Academy.
I love Police Academy.
And number 1.
It's so...
Number 1.
So basic and so funny.
You can just switch off. You can be as involved in it as you want, or you can just sit on the couch, fall asleep, and wake up. But just to prove to you,
I have Top Gun written down.
Beautiful. Oh, actually no, yeah, Godfather. Yeah, I can. I watch that. I watch the whole series at least 2-3 times a year.
Yeah, there you go. So why didn't you say it?
Didn't think of it.
I was vibing it really
Actually
hard.
didn't think of it. Yeah, because I watched it the other. Because I'm actually having that argument
Sorry,
with my wife at the moment.
the other movie I had written down was The Godfather.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I'm actually in negotiations with Kelly at the moment as to whether or not I should let my oldest son watch it yet, and she's saying no, and I'm saying yes.
Well, he's how old?
11.
Well, you would have seen it by 11, wouldn't
Oh
you?
yeah.
See,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the thing. Like, are we scarred from the movies we saw in the 80s? I'm not.
No,
I'm not scarred from the movie content I
I'm
saw.
more scarred from the late 90s internet content that wasn't. I remember because the internet was new for us.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this. I don't know if
you
it's
were
still
rich.
there. Yeah. Well, my mate, his dad was head of Macintosh or something at the time,
yeah.
so we'd go to his house.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it was called rotten.com or something.
Oh,
like that. Do you remember
my
that?
gosh, I do
I'm
remember.
more scarred from that.
Oh gosh, rotten.com. You couldn't help yourself, could you?
No. But no, the movies.
For listeners, don't go there. It probably
If it's still up there, just
Don't go. Watch everyone race to rotten.com.
Might check it out tonight myself. Actually,
Me too.
But no, I think I was explaining it to someone the other day, a mate of mine. 80s movies kind of raised us. You
100%.
You'd watch an 80s. The other movie is Better Off Dead.
I love.
If you see it with
Do you know
John
what?
Cusack.
It's on no streaming service.
Yeah, no, I know. I've
$2.
yeah, if anyone listening, if you haven't seen Better Off Dead, go watch it.
You won't be
it's
able
still,
to find it.
It's still not a lame movie. I reckon it's great.
It is one of the classics.
I wanted to play the saxophone because of that movie. I bought a 1967 Camaro because of that movie. I wanted to be Lane Meyer, and the only reason I couldn't ski was here in Brisbane. There was nowhere to ski.
Nowhere to, unless you went to Expo 88 in the Swiss Pavilion.
Yes, but everyone wanted to be Lane Meyer. Those are those movies. So you
God,
kind of.
that's a great film.
I loved it. I think it's fantastic. So my
But
kids
you
are
know
saying
what? These days, that wouldn't fly. That movie wouldn't
no, it's
fly.
taboo because the underlying
is the guy wants to commit
wants to
suicide,
kill himself,
but
yeah.
he keeps getting thwarted.
Yes, but they make it funny. Like
Right,
I think it's hilarious.
but that didn't sink into me that he was trying to commit. I mean, of course, I see he's trying to die.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
Watching the movie, I didn't see it. I didn't. I liked the comedy.
Right.
The kid with the switchblade who combs his
Yes,
hair with it was around us. I think we discussed it more then, back in the 80s. It was
and what
in the
about
open.
the movie flipping scene when everything turns animated?
Yes, yep, and he drew the cartoons. No, it's a great movie. Anyone listening, go watch it. Thank me later.
Better Off Dead.
That's great. So one of the things I'm sort of always been very proud of with our business is that, I don't know if you remember, if they still have it, called the Neighbourhood Watch program. So we were actually a safe house in the 80s and 90s. So when you'd have police go to the local schools, whatever, and explain how the Neighbourhood Watch.
I remember
thing
the
worked
little signs that would go on your letterbox, and it was safety house,
that
like
was
a
safety
little
house.
white one with a green.
Correct.
And yeah.
Yep. So if you're a kid or whatever, and you know, you were
Basically, they probably just got a blue card.
more or less, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd go into that house. You think, right, these people, whatever. So if someone was following you or something had happened, whatever. But our shop was a safe house as well, because obviously we were across the road from the train line. So we've had instances where we've had young girls hop off the train just distraught because a man had approached them and flashed or something like that, and we just we have big pumpkin knives and we were big blokes. So yep, you come out the back here. There's
Great
a phone.
place
Go
to
ring your
come.
mum. Here's some water, and we're standing right at the front door. Tell us what he looked like.
Yep.
Sometimes we'd even go looking for them. We've had cases where, on the topic of DV, where we've had DV victims, because we've been at the shop at 3 o'clock in the morning, have come down to seek shelter. And we've, in one instance, the husband even found out, and we sort of had to keep him outside. So we've, to me, that's the importance of having that's what I owe the community. That's where we're a little staple community
It's give
business.
and take.
Yes. So we're here to serve our community any way we can, as corny as that sounds. But that's absolutely what we're here to do. In times when we've had all these, crises like COVID and all that sort of stuff, we've got food. I've pulled it out of Sydney
COVID,
and Western
you were delivering
Australia.
food.
Yep,
You were doing free delivery of food.
we actually, and this is I love about this neighbourhood.
And the floods too, huh?
Yep, always have. COVID, I remember not realising, because I didn't get out much because I was working, how serious toilet paper was. Well, I managed to get 2 pallets of it.
I
and I was going to auction it off and donate it, and so.
Yeah.
And then I found out a lot of the elderly and families that didn't have toilet paper, so I was just putting a couple of rolls of toilet paper in all the boxes.
Basket.
And because the elderly couldn't get out either, a lot of people don't have cars, or there were no cabs, there was no whatever. I put a pledge out there, and I've got to give him a shout out to Brendan from Delivery Baron here. He's a local here. He was the first one to put his hand up. But what we did is I said, hey, listen, if anybody is in a position to deliver anything, because I had people ringing from overseas. Oh, my father lives at Wynnum. Can you get stock over there? I said, well, and I'd put it out there. Hey, can anyone drive to Wynnum? So we had all our, locals, friends, whatever, delivering as far as they didn't quite get to Byron Bay because they couldn't get down there. But yeah, Gold Coast, whatever.
Wow.
To anybody, especially elderly, that couldn't get any food.
It was a hell of a time, and I remember Superior Fruit really active.
Yep, no,
Well done
that's
to
our
you.
job.
Yeah.
So, but no, that's where I've always been very proud of the shop. Is we're not just a shop. We're not just
We're not just here for your money.
No, well, certainly not here for the money.
Well, it's the one for the money.
I do want to. But no, that's very, very proud of that one.
Yeah.
And our shop is always, the door is always open to anyone that ever needs something. Always been proud of that.
Okay, so this is the very last question for you. It is the question that I ask all of my guests on Once Upon a Real Life.
Mm-hmm.
Peter Maniatis, have you seen a ghost or a UFO?
No. I've had UFO, definitely not. I had some weird dreams over the years where you'll see someone or whatever, and you kind of wake up and you think, was that a dream or whatever? So no, to me, I'm anything but spiritual. Anything but spiritual. I think, yeah, I don't see that stuff. I just don't.
I don't either. I would love to, but I don't think I'm open to it. But no. I'm asking every guest because so far it's 50% have.
Yeah.
So far.
My wife has. She's got those cool stories you tell when people are over and things that have happened to her. And I've been in the same room. I know, for instance, there was one house we had, and I do remember hearing the sound, but but I never thought about it. I just remember.
What was the sound?
We'd go to bed at night and you'd hear what sounded like a light switch being turned on, and it happened 8 times.
Is it in the house you're in now?
No, it's one of our old houses.
The one near the shop?
No, out when we were out at Moggle. Okay. And I just never thought anything of it. Just sounded like light switches, and then I was off to bed. But it was. I think the ADHD or the OCD or whatever in me picked up. I heard it go 8 times every night. But the simplicity of my brain was I never thought about it. I just go,
so it actually every night, but the light wasn't.
No lights or anything went on. It just sounded like a light switch.
Was anyone else hearing it?
Kelly heard it.
And she mentioned it?
Yeah, but it wasn't until after we moved out.
Oh, wow.
A couple of years later, and she in that particular house, and she sees, we lost her father a few years ago, and she says she can feel presence and all that sort of stuff, and I'm like, it's not me at all. So it's but yeah, she remembers that. She saw stuff in that house. She's seen things that.
Okay, I'm going to get her on.
Yeah, she's
get her on.
Whatever she says about me, she's lying. Right?
I think she'd only have great things to say. So I'd like to just say thank you so much for coming and chatting with me today.
It's been cool.
I knew I would enjoy this interview, and you and I think I've learned more now that we are very similar in our personalities.
Yep.
Water does find its own level.
Absolutely, always does.
High five to us.
No, cheers. Thank you. No, I've had a ball.
Thanks, Pete.
Cheers.